Hi guys, welcome to the video. Today we're going to be diving into Google Search's guidance on AI generated content, which they recently updated on February the 8th, which is published on the Google Search Central. So we're going to dive into that content today, and we're going to try to read in between the lines a little bit and try to understand what Google is actually saying, as well as take on some great clues around how they detect what they detect and how they sort of operate on an algorithmic level. So come with me now, we'll jump right into the shared screen and we'll take a look at that together. So here we can see Google's ranking systems aim to reward original high quality content that demonstrates what we call EEAT, expertise, experience, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness. So we'll take a little look at later on about what those sort of how those might be detected by the algorithm. Focus on quality content rather than how content is produced. So here they're sort of saying they're focusing on quality, but not specifically ever targeting AI. Now, it would be a bit controversial if they were to outright target AI as something sort of a negative kind of type of content, because they themselves are in the works at the moment of producing AI content in their search engines as a sort of search result. So they're sort of avoiding saying that they're going to target AI content specifically, but they will be targeting content based on the quality factors, and that implies that there's certain factors that may affect the quality of AI content specifically that could get you caught on the wrong side of these kind of rules. So they've said here mass-produced yet human-generated content was a problem 10 years ago. And obviously, no one would have thought that it was reasonable to ban all human content. So they're sort of implying here that a misuse of AI content, it would be for mass production, because they're giving the example of mass-produced human content as being something that they dealt with, and then sort of saying, well, and they didn't ban all humans. So the implication is that mass-produced AI content is going to be something that is going to be bad, within the context of how they will be targeting AI. Later on, they do give some examples of how AI can be used, but some of these examples are sort of for weather and news results and things like that, dynamically having this kind of information. But what they're kind of reading between the lines here, effectively what they're saying is, don't use AI for writing your articles, but you can use it in more creative ways. But there's like news and sort of updating content on your website dynamically. So then there's a kind of gray area in between as well. Well, can you use AI for writing articles, for assisting in writing articles, but not writing the whole article? Well, we'll look into that. They say using automation, including AI, to generate content with the primary purpose of manipulating rankings is a violation of the terms. And sort of take what they've said here along with what they said in the last point. It's basically going back to the mass-produced content. It's mass-produced, any mass-produced content. So if someone's basically using AI to mass-produce content at scale to try to get traffic at scale, they would consider that spam. Now we'll take a look at but then they're sort of insisting on one hand, that this EAT is the defining factor as to whether AI content is spam or whether it's not. Okay, then that begs the question: what is this EEAT stuff all about? So here we go. Here, AI content that potentially propagates misinformation or contradicts consensus. So then how are they detecting what propagates misinformation or contradicts the consensus? So Google has indexed the entire internet, all pages from the internet, and it can pull together facts, identify facts from within that content, from all of the content, and identify what is the majority. So if the majority of people are saying that the sea is blue, and a small handful of people are saying that the sea is pink, well, Google's going to know that the people saying the sea is pink are generally the sort of the misinformation types. So if your website has a lot or a piece of content, even it'll probably be on a content by content piece of basis, but there'll be probably a website reputational element factored into this algorithm. So if a website overall has a lot of misinformation, well, basically what their algorithm is doing is it's identifying what facts are in a piece of content, and then how many of those facts are verified by other websites. So the more facts that you have that are verified by other websites, the better. Now, one of the flaws with AI content is sometimes the facts are simply not correct. Now, if you're producing AI content at scale, trying to game the algorithm, you're not going to be investing the time to review and fact check all of that content, in which case you may fall foul of these algorithmic abilities that they have for sort of checking the EEAT, which effectively this is one of. So consider having accurate author bylines when readers would reasonably expect it. So this is going back to sort of who wrote the content, and sort of if it was written by a human, have in situations where a human might, like on a blog, for example, maybe not a product page, situations where reasonably might expect it, it would be beneficial to have the author of that blog listed there and a little bit of information about them. And Google will obviously try to sort of stitch together who that individual is against social profiles and other sort of things to try to verify that they are to some extent real. So we've taken a look at that now, and we've tried to decipher a little bit about that. But let's take a look over here now, because they mentioned these this helpful content update here, which sort of refers to that. So here we can see that in terms of these EEAT signals, Google is looking at the background of the author, which we discussed. So they'll be looking at, who is the author, where has he written before, is he always writing about this topic, is it fair to say that the author is an expert in this subject matter? And they're also looking at the website as well. So they're looking for websites that have a particular niche. So if your niche is about talking about, I don't know, sound production, and that's all it talks about, then it was sort of, that would be a signal. But if you've got a sort of multi-niche website, and a website that talks about general news about everything, then that would be a trust factor, a negative trust factor, because you're not an expert in anything. So if you do have one of these sites that is a sort of talks about everything general information, then you need to really rely on the authors being experts in the subject matter, and their biographies being available, and those authors having some level of a reputation online writing about that subject matter. Now moving down here, does your content clearly demonstrate first-hand experience and a depth of knowledge? For example, experience that comes from having actually used a product or a service or visiting a place. So what does that actually mean? It goes back to writing content that adds something new to the internet, because if what AI content is doing is it's learning all its information from looking at other websites. So, and remember, Google has a full index of all the other websites on the internet as well. So, in addition to being factually correct in all the facts that it does state, or most of the facts that it does state, is it introducing new facts that haven't been covered elsewhere on the internet, but that are not contradicted on other websites? And that I think that's the balance really of what good content is, and how the crux of whether your AI content is going to get slapped, or if your AI content, AI assisted content, it should be not AI content, AI assisted content, is going to sort of be successful, is because Google will be looking at who wrote it, is there new information being added here that sounds like it's from first-hand experience, or knowledge or research or whatever you've done? Is there something new being added that hasn't been mentioned on other websites before? And is the stuff that you've discussed that has been mentioned on other websites before, is that are the facts correct, or are they incorrect versus what other websites say about them? And I think really, if you can kind of get all those components correct, you can safely use AI content to assist in creating blog articles and help you sort of pick up the pace in how you produce content. Okay, guys, so I hope you enjoyed that little look into Google's recent guidance on AI-generated content. If you did, make sure you hit the like button or leave a comment, so I kind of know that you're kind of interested in that, and we can produce a bit more of that in the future. Until then, guys, take care and good luck. Bye-bye.